I've actually said to me, he says, you can't make me do anything, which is actually true. As a human being, I can't make any demon do anything. But then my retort to them is, but he can. And so he uses us as instruments to basically afflict the demon, to punish him to a certain point, and then it's at that point that Christ steps in. So one time I was asked in a public venue, how many people have you liberated? And I said, none. But I've been in the presence of liberations where Christ, and I've done my work as an exorcist, and then Christ is the one who liberates. And so that liberation is both an act of mercy, but also one of the things that people very often don't quite understand about this thing, possession is the worst thing. Actually, possession is not the worst thing. The worst thing is sin, mortal sin specifically, where you've committed such a grave sin that you're under the power of the demons from a legal point of view. Whereas possession is not necessarily the worst thing. In fact, possession, especially if it kind of protracts for any length of time, the people become holier through the battle, through the struggle. It's like a guy who goes off to, there's a big difference between a soldier who's never seen combat and one who has. And so this is whereas the guy who's seen the combat, he's much more fashioned, much more honed than the guy that maybe went through a lot of good training and could be a good soldier, but he just didn't have that opportunity. Well, it's the same thing here. When people go through just the brutal battle and the type of thing, the amount of sacrifice and self-denial and everything that they have to go through, and the virtue that they have to achieve in order to conquer this thing. So the angels can do actually two things in relationship to us. The first is they can put an image in our imagination and even put a perspective on that image, just as the demons can do the same thing. So the demons can not only just put an image in your imagination, because we get thoughts, where did this come from, right? But they can even put a perspective on, like, this would be really good, right? And this is why sometimes people will come to me, like normal men, normal heterosexual men will come to me and they'll say, I had this bizarre experience where I was in this situation and I had this thought of pedophilia, and I had this kind of inclination to go. I said, well, that's not your junk, right? That's not you. Demons can make anything look appealing. One exorcist contacted me recently because he had kind of gone through that type of thing. He was working with this one woman who, by any stretch of the imagination, was not good looking whatsoever. But when she walked in the door during one of the sessions, the demons skewed his perceptions and his in relationship to it. And he said he looked at her and he felt this inclination, like she's just